Hello everyone! Today's dessert is not only among the most popular in several regions of the world, but also among the most misrepresented ones. Baklava or baklava can be an unforgettable delicacy or a total disappointment. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to make the excellent baklava at home, so please stay tuned. This layered pastry dessert is very popular in Turkey, Greece, Arabia, South Caucasus, the Balkans and Central Asia. It's very celebrated over there. Having said that, it's not the case all around the world, because like all those dishes that get so popular in several regions and geographies, the quality can drop so low that can turn into a mass production disaster. For instance, in Europe, when I first tried baklava there, I was shocked by how irrelevant it was to the one I tried at home. Sometimes I couldn't even have a second bite. Where I come from, baklava is taken quite seriously. It's this fancy dessert that people gifted one another in special events and occasions. It was quite celebratory to have baklava, so whenever I hear the word, I think of a very fancy, perfect tasting thing. So what can go wrong with baklava? Baklava can be sickly sweet to the point of unbearableness, especially if it has this syrupy, thick taste, like having a shot of honey. It can also be too wet and soggy. Adding that to the sugar bomb effect can make it intolerable. Also, and most importantly, baklava can have a very low quality filling, which can really ruin the experience. So what is baklava made of? Baklava is made of main four elements. The first is the pastry, making up the layers. The second is the ghee, or the clarified butter. The third is the sweetening syrup. And the fourth is the filling. So as you can see, this dessert is quite straightforward. I was even very surprised at first to learn how easy it was to prepare it. Having said that, there are little details here and there that you have to pay attention to get a high quality end product. The first element is the pastry that makes up the layers. It's made from very thin, unleavened dough. Unleavened means that no rising agent or yeast was used in it. This pastry is known as Phyllo in Greek, which means leaf, or Yufka in Turkish, which means thin in Ottoman Turkish. This type of pastry is luckily available in many supermarkets nowadays, so you can go and buy it and you wouldn't need to prepare it, as it might take a lot of time to make it at home. The second element in baklava is ghee. Ghee is clarified butter. We simply get butter and remove all the water and the milk particles from it, and we're going to end up with the essence of the butter. Ghee is also available in supermarkets, but we're going to show you today how to prepare it at home. The third element in baklava is the filling, and we're going to use pistachio as it's the perfect filling for baklava. The fourth element is the sweetening syrup, and it's quite simple. We can prepare it in under 15 minutes. It's basically water and sugar, a squeeze of lemon, and a little bit of vanilla extract. Let's move right to the process. The first step is that we're going to prepare the ghee. Each 100 grams of butter can be reduced to 70 up to 90 grams of ghee. So for the needed 180 grams of ghee, we're going to use 250 grams of butter. We're going to put the butter in a pot and keep stirring it on very low heat until we completely separate the water and the milk particles from the fat of the butter. The thing we're aiming at is for the butter to become completely translucent and see-through. Once we can see the bottom of the pot, that means that our ghee is ready, and we're going to take that liquid out and strain it to make sure that we leave out all the particles and the leftovers aside. The butter I recommend for making ghee at home is Irish butter. This is due to the fact that Irish butter is made from milk that comes from grass-fed cows. Also, while some butters are made by skimming the fat off the top of fresh milk and churning it, Irish butters are cultured. They're made by fermenting the milk with lactic cultures first to naturally give it flavor. The function of the ghee in the baklava is to glue all the pastry layers together, but also pop them apart a little bit during the baking process. That's what gives it the crunchiness and the cohesion we're looking for. After that, we're going to start preparing the filling. The filling is pistachio, as we mentioned, and for that we're going to use 350 grams of pistachio. Make sure it's unsalted and good quality, and we're going to use 250 grams, which we're going to cut with a knife into little cubes, little pieces, as I'm going to show you in the video. And the other 100 gram, we're going to grind, turn it into a powder to fill in all the gaps and to blanket the middle section of the baklava. I also keep 30 to 50 grams aside to grind them and sprinkle them over the top of the baklava once it's done. Now we can start preparing the pastry layers. The Yufka or the Phyllo pastry can come in either circular or rectangular shape. We're gonna get a pan of 25 centimeters of diameter, place it on the top of the layers and cut them with a knife just to outline them to match the shape of the pan. Because simply we're gonna layer them one over the other inside the pan and they have to match exactly the diameter. During the process, make sure that you don't destroy the layers while you're outlining the pan, and also make sure that the layers are constantly covered. Any long exposure to air can cause them to dry up, and this is a thing we're trying to avoid at all costs. Now, since we have all the ingredients ready, we're going to start assembling the pan. The first step is to brush the bottom of the pan with ghee and the sides to make sure that nothing gets stuck to it during the baking period. After brushing the bottom of the pan, we're going to start stacking the layers of pastry one over the other, after brushing the top of each. We're going to layer 15 layers of pastry at first before putting our filling and other layers to come. So that's going to take some time, so make sure that your back is comfortable and make sure that you cover each layer's top quite thoroughly. This is quite important. After doing that, we're going to put the pistachio. At first we're going to put the 250 grams that we cut in relatively larger pieces, and after doing that we're going to blanket all the empty spots and missing parts with the ground 100 grams to make sure that we have a surface covered with pistachio. This is gonna take some time, so don't be impatient, but make sure that you brush each layer's top quite thoroughly. If you don't do that, we're gonna end up with two dry parts that's gonna break apart. So after we spread the pistachio on the top of the first 15 layers, we're gonna brush the 16th layer, put it on top of the pistachio, and add 24 other layers on top. So in total we have 15 layers of pastry below the pistachio and 25 above it. So after we're done with the assembly, make sure that you cut the layers all the way to the bottom diagonally. That's what will give each piece this beautiful parallelogram shape. Also make sure that with the tip of your fingers to push down all the corners of each piece of each parallelogram. That's what will give this embossed effect for the entire baklava, and also each piece will have this beautiful pronounced center after baking. After that, we're going to prepare the oven by preheating it to 180 degrees Celsius. We're going to bake the baklava for 45 minutes. A very critical step is adding the syrup to the baklava, as it has to be boiling hot while the baklava has just left the oven. So you have to time the preparation of your syrup very intelligently so you don't miss out on it. The entire preparation time of the syrup is around 15 minutes, so make sure that you start preparing it 15 minutes before you get the baklava out of the oven. The preparation of the sweetening syrup couldn't be easier. We need 250 grams of sugar, 150 milliliters of water, a squeeze of lemon, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. We just leave everything there and leave it to boil for 10 minutes. We don't even have to stir or do anything. Just put everything together and leave it to boil and let it simmer down on very low to medium heat for 10 minutes. After we get the pan out of the oven after 45 minutes of baking, we're gonna pour the boiling hot sweetening syrup. But don't panic at this point, as it's gonna seem like everything is dancing in the pan. This is how it should look like. After that, we're gonna let it cool down, and once it gets lukewarm, feel free to sprinkle the pistachio that you've grounded earlier for the decoration purpose. Now we can blow the minds of your guests by offering them this dessert. So please try it at home and let me know how it went with you in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.